Buongiorno.
Mark my words, Mel. Early by Christmas.
Even now, less than a score of years after the World War,
Hostilities exist. There is no blinking at the fact.
we shall never surrender!
This is the Militaria Podcast, brought to you by your friends at Queen City Militaria, Wehrmacht Militaria, and SMG War Relics.
Well, are you just lighting up in the basement?
He's a man of
Wow.
stature. He can do as he pleases.
International man of mystery right here on the Militaria Podcast. Welcome to the Militaria Podcast. My name is Joshua Doda. I run Queen City Militaria, and I'm joined today by my friends, my compatriots, Dante Gambino of SMG War Relics.
Howdy, partner.
And Billy Kramer of WehrmachtMilitaria.com.
Hello, everybody. I'm happy to be here, and it's very hot and humid where I am right now.
Bill, are you smoking a cigar over there?
I am, and it's very smoky. It's hot, it's humid, it's smoky. But you know what? I've decided again with the podcast, this is only a thing of enjoyment from here on out. So I'm gonna smoke a stogie. If we're getting right into it, I got a Point Lager that's local here in Wisconsin.
Wow.
Delicious.
Fuck, Billy. I knew you were a white trash, and you're just proving it right in front of us. Smoking in your house with a fucking cheap ass beer.
Woo!
It's delicious, cheap beer. I don't care. I don't care about the price of my beer as long as it tastes good in my mouth. You know?
Ew.
That's fair. I don't need it to taste good anywhere else. We can get right into it. Dante, what are you drinking?
Oh fuck, man, dude. I'm just keeping it light with the Stewart's orange cream soda.
That's a
Because,
classic Americana beverage right there.
Now, let me ask you a question. Now, let's talk about this for a moment because I find it interesting about Americana and Stewart's as an American fucking company. Stewart's is based out of upstate New York, mostly. There's actually Stewart's gas stations / ice cream shops, and that's where the fucking soda, I guess, originated. But I think you can find Stewart's soda all over the country now. Is that correct? Or is there like a line where, nope, doesn't pass the Mississippi or it doesn't go below the Mason-Dixon? Like, what do you know about that?
I don't know anything about it.
Do you have Stewart's over there in fucking Wisconsinville?
No, we have Sprecher because it's the
Cheddar.
land of Germans. I don't Stewart. That sounds English and East
So
Coast.
Stewart's. So okay, so Stewart's is not out there.
No, yeah, I don't.
Stewart's is definitely in New Hampshire.
Yeah, no, I know Stewart's. Stewart's is good stuff. But it's funny. The whole time I was in Oregon, if you asked me, did I see a Stewart's bottle anywhere? I can't say yes, but I wasn't looking.
You weren't looking for it. But why am why am I not drinking alcohol is a bigger question. And that is because, gentlemen, today was the first day back to school for my children. I have a kindergartner, so that was a big thing, and a first year middle schooler now. So both big days for both of these kids. And what we do is, as a community, all of us in the neighborhood, we throw our kids on the bus, not literally throw them, but kick them.
We toss them onto the bus,
punt them onto the bus, and then we get the fuck out of Dodge. We go down to one of the local watering holes close to the beach, the Starboard, if you're familiar with the Delaware area, and we just hit down some bloodies and some crushes and get some breakfast. So
nice,
what do you
dude.
guys know about orange crushes? Anything? Have you heard about those?
Orange crushes, like
Fuck, dude, you guys don't.
I again
know.
think orange crushes as soda.
Okay, well, here's the thing. Orange crushes, I believe they were started in Ocean City, Maryland, and it's basically you take a full orange, you fucking crush it into the fucking drink cup, right? And you put in some vodka and some Sprite and some other shit, whatever. And that's your fucking drink. And they are delicious. And it's become the national or the state official beverage of Delaware. Actually, just last month, I think they voted. It was a big fucking to-do. And yeah, you go to fucking everywhere you go, it's like who's got the best crush, and they are delicious, and you get wrecked on crushes. They're fantastic part of the culture here.
That's cool that Delaware has an official when your kids go back to school. This is what you drink. Would be.
Oh,
yeah.
no, it's not just for that. It's for any fucking time you want.
Any occasion, you can just crush an orange. It just doesn't.
You have an orange crush, and you
don't
get
even
wrecked.
have a reason. Okay.
You get several of those, and you get shit-faced. But anyway, enough
Delaware
about
is
me.
all most anti-orange state in the union.
Let's talk about what are you drinking, Josh?
Oh, dude, I'm over here. viewers may have noticed that we have not done an episode in a little while, and that's because I have been driving across country and moving in New Hampshire. So now that I'm back in New England and I'm back in New Hampshire, I got the Sam Adams Jacko pumpkin beer. It's a little nippy outside.
Oh,
Wearing a hoodie, it's September, fall has started.
don't do
Pumpkin beer time, dude.
No, don't. You can't do pumpkin beer. That's just.
Josh,
Love
can
me
I-
a good
do
pumpkin
they-
beer.
Oh,
Do
they
they
taste
crush a
like
pumpkin for
shit.
that?
They taste like
Yeah,
shit.
it's kind of funny. So what maybe you guys have never heard about this, but it's actually the state beer of New Hampshire. And what they do is they crush a whole pumpkin right into the
A whole
into the
fucking
brewing
pumpkin.
process, and then they dump a bunch of cans of Sprite into it.
You
and
might
it's just-
mock it, but I'm gonna fucking mix them up at the max. We're gonna make some and get fucking tanked up on crushes. You mark my word, gentlemen. We're gonna do it. But yeah, so
man.
pumpkin beer. Listen. I had a bad experience, and I think it was Sam Adam pumpkin ale or some shit I had like 10 years ago. I bought a whole case of it. It tasted like ass, and I struggled to get through it. It wasn't that, so it must have changed it or something.
Like I was saying, we did just make the cross country road trip, and I got a few pictures to show you guys if you really if you want to check it out real quick.
I'm excited.
I'm excited. I'm excited as well. So one of the things that we did is, if we saw interesting signage or interesting stuff, we'd pull over. This is Chapel, Nebraska. We saw the
Good folks.
what's up?
Chapel or Chappelle?
Chapel, Chappelle. I have no idea. I'm not a native Nebraskan, but I did see this big old American flag, and I was like, we got to pull over. We got to get off the highway. Get off the highway. We're downtown. It looks like this. I'm like, this is crap. This is absolute crap, dude. I can't I need to see the big American flag. So we ended up going over into this what looked like a pretty serious ag industrial area and doing a little trespassing to get this close to take the picture. But it was cool. And then we got chased out by security.
Man, I'm getting like
as we were
Project
leaving.
X vibes.
Dude, it's pretty neat, right? Like it doesn't do it justice for how big it really is, but it was visible from space, not just the highway. So some other cool stops that we had. This is Walnut, Iowa. Walnut, Iowa is this little town. They call it the Antique City of Iowa. Really interesting little town.
Did you get any good military while you were down? I mean, you had to have stopped and shopped for the website, I would hope.
Dude, yeah, I actually did find some interesting stuff on the way. There wasn't a whole lot in Iowa specifically, and in Walnut. I wish I could tell you that Walnut was like the best, and we found everything we needed there.
That's because Jeremy's already gone and bought it all up, man. Jeremy's
Probably,
all about
right.
those antique stores in Iowa, man.
So the Walnut, Iowa is an interesting one because it seemed like it used to be a big agricultural area. There was a lot of farming in the area, and then it kind of just stopped. So now the town is basically a tourist destination specifically for antique stores. We went into a bunch of these places. You could easily spend all day here. They have a lack of food and drink options, which I will say was kind of a bummer. But we talked to some old ladies. It was really nice. We went into one antique store where I saw the most militaria, and we got stared at a lot. So that wasn't the best, and we did not end up shopping there at the end of the day. But overall, I would say if you're into antiques and if you're in Iowa, go over to Walnut. I'm sure you already have because you have those.
Why
other
were you
two.
getting stared at? Because of your unusual size?
Dude, I don't know what it was. It felt a lot like when you see somebody in a movie walk into a bar and like everybody stops what they're doing and just looks
The
at them.
music stops. Yeah,
Yeah, it was like that. But
That's
instead
weird.
of that actually being the case, it was like 3 or 4 people in chairs sitting around sort of like the lobby of this antique store. And we walked in and they all just stopped talking. So we were like, oh,
you're
okay,
the
well,
only action for the day, bro. Like,
probably. But we were like, well, we'll just leave the room. We'll go shop the rest of the building and come back. And then we like circled back into the room later and they did the exact same thing. So we were like, we're just going to leave. Like, this is too
Did
awkward.
they make small talk or anything? Like, did they talk about the weather or anything? Or did they just.
They were talking to each other, and then if
Oh,
they heard, like, it was so tense, dude. We were walking back towards the lobby and they heard our footsteps on the floor and they all shut up again and just looked at us. And I was like, what kind of sales pitch is this, dude? I'm not buying knickknacks over here.
Get out of my store, newcomer.
No thanks. So we went across the street and Carmen bought a velvet footstool. So,
Now- Josh, when you're traveling across country, where does one go if one wants a nice spaghetti dinner for his girlfriend?
Oh man,
Spaghetti
dude, it's interesting that you asked this question because I'll tell you right now, you go to the pizza factory in Medical Lake, Washington. It's Medical Lake, you might have heard of it. There was
Yeah.
like 280 buildings that burned down there in a forest fire last year. They had to evacuate the whole town, and we accidentally ended up there at one point in the middle of our road trip, and we were starving. And we stopped into the pizza factory, and I'll tell you what, my girlfriend ordered a spaghetti dinner, which I was not expecting. I'll say it forever, dude. It's not road trip food to be like, let me just slam down a bunch of spaghetti real quick. But we hung out. We hung out for a couple hours. We played some pinball and we looked at all the. They have all the varsity sports teams from the high school, like the portraits of the teams all over the walls, and it goes all the way back to like 2004. So we were like, man, if I was in high school, like who would I have wanted to be friends with? In 2005. It was good.
I think it's
It was
cool that
good.
you guys took the entire week to do all that. I mean, honestly, that was cool.
Yeah,
Yeah,
road
man,
trips
we
are
had
fucking
fun.
cool for sure.
We had a good time. But now that I'm back in New Hampshire, I want to share with you guys one of my passions when it comes to the military collecting hobby, and that is the New Hampshire World War I Service Medal. The New Hampshire World War I Service Medal was a military award instituted by the state of New Hampshire on March 28, 1919, in recognition of honorable service in the war against Imperial Germany. The New Hampshire Senate Journal of 1919, page 341 and 342, it outlines, and I'm going to paraphrase this, a sum of $15,000 is appropriated for the purpose of providing a certificate of honorable discharge and a medal of honor to each resident of New Hampshire who served in the war against the imperial government of Germany. So in this picture, you can see exactly what they're talking about. This is an original certificate, complete with the medal that, it was awarded with, mounted up when it was awarded by the veteran. Really fun. He could see he cut it right out there, he cut it right out of the certificate, mounted it in frame, which is, I don't know, I think it's pretty unique to see,
That's
especially
really
for the
cool,
time period.
Actually. Yeah, that's super
Thank
cool.
you. And this one was interesting. This guy, he has a pretty like colonial sounding name. His first name's Tuffle. And a little hint for anybody out there who's got a certificate at home and maybe you're trying to read it and you can't, hit it with a black light real quick, because that's the only way I was able to make this out. But the medal for New Hampshire World War I service would be produced by a reputable New Hampshire firm, which is the William B. Durgan Company of Concord, New Hampshire, which was a company primarily known for silverware. And the factory was located on School Street in Concord, New Hampshire, which is the state capital. So they could be, just a stone's throw from the State House producing this medal. And in many cases, this medal was distributed through veterans organizations like the American Legion, which was relatively young at the time, as opposed to today, where the American Legion, I don't know about you guys, but I think of it mostly like it's kind of a cheap bar. I think back then it
And
was...
to many of American Legions, I love the place. Yeah, it's good.
Hey, I got no problem with them, but I think it was a little bit more of a veteran, like active veteran organization at the time. Yeah. Little pop quiz for you guys. Before we go back to a little show and tell, there was one other state in New England that awarded a World War I service medal.
New York.
Which one was it? New York is not part of New England.
Oh, fuck you, it is.
New York is not part of New England, dude. It doesn't get honorable mention.
No,
I would just go
northeast.
I would go with Massachusetts then.
So it's it's funny. I was thinking about this earlier today and I was like, what are they going to guess? And Massachusetts makes the most sense because there are so many cities and towns in Massachusetts that gave out medals, and those are always on eBay and always floating around in auctions. But it was actually Rhode Island.
I was going to be my next guess. The least obvious would be the most obvious. Rhode Island.
Yeah. Rhode Island's a weird one, but they were the only other state in New England to have a World War I service medal. And, I'll screen share it again here. I have a couple examples of towns and cities that had service medals.
Do you know off the top of your head how many states did? I mean, I would have thought every state would have commissioned something like that.
It would be nice, but unfortunately, I don't have the list, but I know that each region is sort of represented by the states who participated. Oregon has a World War I service medal.
And records of this stuff is really hard to come by. Because I was researching New York service medals, and it's like, Jesus Christ, it's really difficult to find good, reliable information on who was awarded them, what they're awarded for, all that stuff.
Absolutely. Well, that's the thing too, is, now the practice is so fallen out of favor and states aren't awarding these medals anymore. So it's become
Well, it makes sense because
antiquated.
World War I is over. So they're not gonna
Yeah, they're not awarding World War I medals.
Can we zoom in on one? Can we see the Man in the Mountain, please? That's my
Sure,
favorite part
sure.
of this medal. I love it.
Is
I
there
think
a
it's an awesome
song? Is there a song of the Man on a Mountain?
I am not familiar. There might be some old New Hampshire song that I don't know, but
The
yeah, you can
Man
see
on the mountain.
the design of the medal is pretty cool, especially,
that sound clip of Man in the Mountain by Dante Gambino is copyrighted in podcast 2024. Do not use without written consent.
I think I ripped it off as something else personally.
As Billy was saying, it's a pretty distinct design. We have our state's emblem, which is the old Man of the Mountain. He's now gone. He's been gone since the early 2000s. So unfortunately, if you visit New Hampshire, you will not be able to see him. But it was a rock formation that looked like a dude. That pretty much explains it. And it's got that really strong eagle in the background, which honestly, to me, almost bears some resemblance to what you'd see on German militaria, because you don't see that really strong looking eagle on a lot of American.
It looks like a comb shield eagle to me.
Yeah,
in
exactly.
a direction, but it does. I agree with what you're saying. I see the resemblance there.
Over here, there are some other ones. This one right here with the all the soldiers on it. This is the Manchester, New Hampshire World War I Service Medal. I have a few of those. Queen City Militaria started in the Queen City in Manchester, New Hampshire, so I took a special interest to that. And then these over here are Claremont, New Hampshire victory medals for service in World War I. They're pretty interesting, and you don't see quite as many surviving examples of these awards.
You said you don't see a lot of them. Is it because you've bought every single one off eBay? I mean, I know you hunt for these. That's kind of cool.
Dude, I do hunt for them, but I think they were awarded in pretty small numbers, unfortunately. Like New Hampshire was not a large state population wise at the time. So for the town, you had to live in a town that recognized your service. And then that medal had to obviously be protected through all these years and then eventually make it to the collector's market, which is, there's a lot of room for error in that process. And this one's an extra little mystery to me just because of the gold star device. Could be posthumous, could be something else. I'm not entirely sure what it means. I actually do have to drive over to the town of Claremont and see if somebody at the Historical Society has an answer for me.
I mean, to me, it would look like a silver star or Medal of Honor, heroism decoration, honestly.
It would be cool, man. I mean, I don't want to overstate what it is with a guess. Right. But it's unique and it's interesting. And then when you look at some of these other ones, obviously Billy's right. I've collected these for a while, so these are a section of my World War I service awards from the state and from some towns in New Hampshire. Over here on the side, you can see in the original cardboard box from the Durgan factory, and then on the actual cardboard card of production from the Durgan factory that is not yet made it to a box. These are a little bit more rare as far as boxed awards go. The New Hampshire World War I Service Medal is not something that you see every day. It's not the same as, say, I don't know, the stuff that comes out of the Philadelphia Quartermaster Depot, where it's just boxes and boxes of Bronze Stars that were never circulated. You know what I mean?
I feel like this is extremely informative. I almost feel like we just went over this a week ago. Is there a reason you're repeating yourself?
We did just go over this a week ago. We'll get to that in just one second. I do want to say, if this stuff interests anybody out there, I see dealers price these medals usually in the $60 to $100 range, but I would advise you to just hold out on eBay, keeping a little alert going. I've purchased every single one of these here for $30 or less, and my policy has always been to buy them when I see them for $30 or less. That includes the one in the box, that includes the one on the card. There are some exceptions to the rule, and that is usually when the medal becomes part of a vet grouping, like something like this one here, or I think I flipped by it. Yeah, this one here, which are, attributed. I've paid a little bit more for those. But even when it comes to these vet groupings, because, state medals especially are more of a niche interest in the hobby, there is not always, but oftentimes less of a price tag on it. So these were more affordable. I think this was $40, which is, it's attributed down here to Grandpa Albert Georgina. So of course, we got a picture of him right there. We got the little forget-me-not keepsake metal holder here that it's pinned to. And then the other one, which was to a guy named Jehoshaphat Byron, with all of his objects. This one was only about $90. So if it's interesting to you, keep your eBay eye peeled. Look for auctions for these state medals, because I think honestly there's no way that they lose value, but there's not a lot of interest in them right now. So it's a good way that you can get a deal on something that might be a little bit more relevant to you personally if you live in Oregon or Rhode Island or New Hampshire or New York.
Thanks, Josh, for driving the price of these up now, and I look forward to seeing them for $200 a piece on eBay.
Dude, if they are ever worth $200 a piece, I could probably retire early with the piles of them that sit around in my apartment. But
can we talk about Josephat's knife? That knife is awesome, dude.
Sure, yeah. Let me go back to that for 1 second. It is a cool piece. It's let's see down here. He wrote his name on it. He wrote, his company and 167th Infantry. But most interesting thing about it, if you'll remember from the first time that we all talked about these, is that he stamped it, found knife on Verdun front. Knife, N-I-F-E. But a battlefield pickup, not even specifically a military item, most likely, but he did find it there. So he wrote that on it.
Additionally, what's awesome about these groupings is, like you were saying, you got that for $90, and it's something in military that's so affordable. You always hear people like, oh, it's too out of reach, and it's like, you can collect stamp. I mean, there are so many things about military that are affordable and cool to collect. And I mean, Josh, if anyone has a New Hampshire medal, Josh is your guy.
Yeah, seriously, I'll take it off your hands, but don't expect me to pay more than $30 for it unless it's really special. That's my rule, and now you guys know that. So shoot me an email, but set your sights accordingly. But yeah, so you're right, Bill. We're talking about this again. Second time that we've talked about this week, but it's the only time that the viewers are going to see, and that's because moving and adjusting a little bit. We have some growing pains. So we got together last week to record an episode. Recorded the whole thing. We've been using Zoom as a way to get everybody together for these meetings so that we can actually, record episodes and have something to show, because we live in different places. Obviously, we can't sit in the same room. Unfortunately, I'm sure we'd love that. And the quality was bad. So everybody got really annoyed, understandably so, that we have to record another episode.
Everybody did. That's for sure.
Hey, you know what? We spent 2 hours doing it, and it was right before I left for work, and Billy had taken time off for work to be there. So everybody gets inconvenienced.
Not only that, but people were asking like, hey, when's the next episode? I mean, we had a lot of feedback on people, and it's like, listen, it's not like we didn't have one. It's just, you were moving and there was a lot of shit going on. And unfortunately, our schedules didn't line up. It's not that we're not going to continue this. It's not that we don't have a million topics lined up to talk about it. Just unfortunately, the timing was horrible. And then when we tried, the lagging issues, and this is what, episode 5 or 6. We're still trying to figure this out as we go, and we're in it for the long haul. But it was a learning experience for sure.
Well, we're finding out why people don't do this, because this shit is hard to do, to get everything lined up and to work out the kinks and the setup of 3 different cameras and the audio and linking everything together. The post production editing is a big deal that Josh has taken on. So, there's a lot of moving parts, and doing something as simple, on the outside, it looks maybe simple. There's a lot going on behind the scenes that the viewers don't see.
Right. And the other thing is, if you are somebody that watches the show or listens to the show, you may see stuff happen where we change format here or there, or production quality will change. Right now, we're exploring some other options for, how do we want to keep making episodes? Obviously, the big hang up for the last one that we're going to use some bits of, and we'll put them in this one so you guys can see them. But the big hang up was not having the stable internet connection. So now that we've kind of worked that out, we can move on and say, all right, how do we want to improve quality from here? I've heard some comments about video quality. I've heard some comments about audio quality. Believe me, we're listening, but it's the kind of thing that, you know, we're getting into the groove with just making content right off the bat. So the improvements are coming down the pipeline.
And on that topic of you know, working out all the kinks, we did get some good stuff that is salvageable from the last episode that we did. That we had to scrap the big part of it, but there was a couple of little parts that were still good, and one of them was about an email I got from a customer sent me an email regarding an FW Holer dagger that I had. So we're just going to cut right to that. Josh is going to do some editing, and boom, here it is. This was just something it just came in today, like literally probably minutes before we said, hey, let's do a podcast today. This customer called me or emailed me, and he said, I'm interested in one of your army daggers, one of your Holer army daggers, but he's like, I don't really like the blade. Would you just sell me the rest of the dagger and take the blade off? And I was like, what? And I didn't respond to him that way. I let it cool off a little bit. I started thinking about it, and then I started getting worried. I'm like, he doesn't like the blade means he thinks it's a fake, or he's not 100% confident in it. So then I'm like, shit, did I screw something up? Because if you when you start dipping your toes into the world of daggers, German daggers, Holer reproductions are like kind of 101 in terms of you know, where to be careful. Because I don't know, Billy, would you say that Holers are probably the most faked dagger out there?
So so I hope you talk about the little lines of the thermometer.
We'll get there.
It doesn't look, you know, it doesn't look like a laser etched logo. The cross grain's a little like
no. Don't let's not talk about this dagger yet.
Oh, okay.
Talk about
You know
what your experience is with Holers.
Yeah, okay. I could generally speaking agree with you. Real quick, let me make this comment. The fact that the dagger survived World War II but couldn't survive this collector is mildly hilarious. But anyway, go ahead.
Well, so anyways, so I'm like, oh shit, did I screw up? Because I think a lot of dealers feel the same way. We're paranoid about making mistakes, and we don't want to make mistakes, but they do happen. So if someone is kind enough to send us an email and say, hey, you've got something and I'm not sure about it. Now there's a way to go about doing it. Like if you get an email that says, oh, you sell nothing but fake shit, you're just like, who the fuck is this guy? Like, you know, but if you're just like, hey, Dante, Billy, you got this thing, I'm not too sure about it. You're kind of like, oh crap, let me go back to the drawing board. Let me take a look at it. And let me kind of re-educate myself on this particular area of concern. Because if it is bad, I want to get rid of it. I want to take it off the site, and I don't want it to be on there.
The drawer of shame it goes.
Yeah. Or I want to sell it for like a third or a 25th of what it's worth as a reproduction and get rid of it, right? Whatever it is.
Sure.
But you want transparency there. That's the number one goal. So anyway, so I go back to the daggers and I'm like, all right, let me go back and refresh on Holers, because there's the obvious Holers that are so bad, they're super easy to spot because they don't have enough of the tick marks on the logo. Now, if you're not familiar with the Holer logo, it's a thermometer, right? And there's supposed to be a certain amount of hash marks or ticks, whatever you want to call them, which would indicate different degrees in the temperature of the thermometer. So what a lot of people don't know is that there, to my knowledge, and maybe it has changed over the years, maybe new information's come out, but there's three basic logos. There's an early, a mid, and a late. And each one has a different amount of ticks. So that complicates the matter a little bit, because now it's like, well, you can't just say it doesn't have the right amount of ticks. You have to say, well, does it have ticks?
For that period.
Does it have it from the early, the middle, or the late? So long story short, the dagger in question had 11 ticks from a late period. And what is this one, a 10 tick one? Let's count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. This is a 10. So this is a bad dagger. And I believe this particular website advertised it as a reproduction. And you could see the H and the L, they're a little weird looking. They're not. So Josh, let's pop up another one of the Holers. One of the good ones. Well, this is an atrocious one.
That's horrible.
This is a common,
that is really bad,
horrendous fake you'll find, and they're super easy to spot. but the one we just saw before prior is a little bit more difficult and it could hang people up. So let's go ahead and find another one. Okay, so this was
That's an Etch logo.
that's an early one, right? Now that's got 19 ticks or hash marks. So that's a good early one. And then Josh, let's go to the next one. I think the last one you have. Okay, so this was the one in question. This is a late one that's 11 ticks, which is also good. But if you compare the late and the mid, you could see that the FW Holer logo is very similar. It has the same kind of stylized letters. And you go back to the fake one, which only had 10, the H and the L's, they don't look as thick. They're not as stylized. So we have the wrong amount of hash marks or ticks. And then we also have kind of a strange font. And then this one, of course, is just the horrendous stamp.
That thing is absolutely disgusting. Dude.
Yeah, it's disgusting. It's disgusting. So, yeah. So long story short, I was like, this one right here is the one that was in question. And you guys in the comment section, tell me if we're wrong, but this is a fine late example. And I use GermanDaggers.com. I'll give them a free plug. Boop, GermanDaggers.com. They have a nice reference gallery of all of the logos from whichever time period, from whichever maker. So it's a nice, quick way to go refresh your memory on the logos and the time periods of the logos. Of course, there's other references out there with more specifics as well, but that's just a nice, quick one. So you could see the bad one. It's kind of tricky. And if you weren't paying attention, you might pop on that one. So yeah, so I just responded back to the customer. I was like, hey, it's a good late one. Check out these links. If you have any questions, let me know. And listen, if someone says, hey, we were talking about this on the forum for the last 5 years and whatever's on GermanDaggers.com is not right, then fine, we can make adjustments from there. But to the best of my knowledge, this is a good late war example. So
also, when he wanted to, will you send me the rest of the dagger because all the parts and fittings are correct? It's like, no, I won't. But you're free to sell the blade. Like if you want to take it apart and you don't have a problem with it, then you buy it all and you go ahead and sell your blade.
Well, and that's the other thing. Like when you say I'll buy the rest of the parts, well, that's weird. Like, so you're telling me like all the other parts fit the bill, right? They're perfect. They look great, but the blade's not right. And we're talking about not just generic scabbard fit or generic fittings. We're talking about Holer specific fittings. Everything looks good together. You obviously want it to make or upgrade your Holer, right? So whatever you're doing with it's none of my business, but those parts are good, but the blade isn't. So the chances of someone having a near mint condition dagger and then saying, well, the blade's no good, I want to put a reproduction blade on it, it starts to get weird, right? So I don't know. That was just one of the fun emails that I got for the day. And there's, again hundreds throughout the course of the week that are worth talking about, but a good one where we can learn a little bit about Holer if you're not familiar, just expand on that.
Yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed that. And I'm glad we could include it in here because it's good information. And it'll be great information for you guys when you're at the Mac show this month. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to make it. I got new work schedule. I just started this job out here, so it's a little too early for me to be taking the whole weekend off. But boys, let's talk about it. What have you guys been doing to get ready for the Mac show? Let's start with you, Dante.
Oh boy. Well, all of my YouTube viewers know already that I bitch about getting ready for the SOS of the Mac show a good month in advance. And I wouldn't say I'm working solely on that for a month, but for sure, I probably put about 2 weeks of solid. All right, I'm not going to list any new product. I'm going to focus on the show and to make sure everything is on the level. And the reason why it takes me so long is if you've stopped by my tables, I really put everything out there in terms of display. Like I try to go over the top a little bit and make a really nice display because I only do 2 shows a year. So for me, it's worth it to lug in the big, nice cases and not do the scratched up rental cases and have lighting there and shit and nice tablecloths and banners and stuff like that. So I do put a lot of effort into it. Behind the scenes, getting ready, the prep that goes on is tremendous on the other end of it because God, I'll tell you a funny story about this, but when I was trying to figure out my way in the show and like, well, how do I train? Because I was a web-based business. I started as a web-based business, and the shows were kind of a secondary thing that I got into. It's kind of a natural progression anyway for a web dealer to progress probably to shows, or it might go the other way around. However, how do you take inventory from your website? You've got a system, right? We all have some kind of system. Either you have bins or slots or bags or whatever, handwritten things, printed inventory numbers, barcodes. Everyone's got a different system. So basically I had to figure out a way to roll that system over to the show without having to reinvent something completely different. So to be able to make all that work, basically I go through every single item that I have, well, that I plan on bringing to the show anyway, and make sure that it's got a price tag, it's inventory, it's, the description is right. The price that's on the tag is the same price that's on the website. And if it's stale inventory, it's been kicking around for 2-3 years. Am I dropping the price to move it out? Because I don't mind having extra inventory, but if the stuff's not moving at a certain price, you got to start dropping it eventually.
Sure.
Especially this, the stuff that's not very popular. I'm not going to call it garbage, but the stuff that just you're looking for that special guy to come by that just collects that one weird obscure thing.
And he'll be at the show.
The price has got to be right, because that's your chance to move it.
Yep.
So you're going through all of that, and then it's like, well, how do I get this? How do I display this stuff? And the story I wanted to tell was one of the first maxes I think I did was Helmut Weitze came by my tables, and I had my nice display, fucking whatever the hell you call them, cases. I had them, and I just basically threw in bags of medals and stuff with like price tags on the bag in the case, and you couldn't see shit, and I had to take them out all. Hey, can I look at that cross? Can I look at that? Yeah, take it out of the case, then take it out of the thing, then take it out of the all right, and then try not to lose the bag and all this shit. And it was a big pain in the ass. And Weitze called me out on it hard. And I think, Billy, you could probably vouch for this too. Weitze has a subtle sense of humor. It's really funny, actually. But he goes up to me. He's like, what are you doing? Like this, you can't see shit. You have to display this differently. And I'm just like, oh, shit. Like, he definitely took me down a notch. So I was like, this fucking guy's not wrong, though.
That's classic Weitzer.
Weitzer, the good old Weitzer. Yeah,
that's Weitzer, dude.
I love that name, that nickname, Weitzer. But Weitzer, he fucking set me straight. He didn't tell me the right way to do it, but I figured out that I had to kind of reinvent it, and I started putting more shit in Rikers, and then I started using little hang tags, because the hang tags, I could take it out of the package, and it was still, the information was still there, and I could display it easier. So when the little ones with the little string and shit, those kind of tags. So yeah, I'm going through and I'm making all that shit right, and packing stuff up, and there's shit there's a pain in the ass to do with like swords, stuff like that. So there's just a lot that goes into prep. And then on top of that, and other guys that bring a lot of stuff that also have a website can probably understand and feel my pain is, I'll get all this shit ready to go, and then it's like it never fails. There's like nothing going. I'm like, crickets for website orders for like a while, and then like 2 days before the show, I'm like ready to go. Shit's packed up in like totes and stuff, and then the orders start hitting, bing, 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 and I gotta dig all this shit out right before the show to make sure these orders go out on time. But yeah, and then you're adjusting the website too. Hey, I'm not going to be able to ship stuff for a week or so, and then, you got to bring it all back and unpack it all. So, and I know different dealers are different. They have different, they're like, no, I only bring this stuff, and everything on the website is still on the website. I bring different shit, and kudos to you guys, but I don't do that.
I wouldn't be able to do that either. And I'm not, like I said, I'm not going to make it to the max this year, but I just had to pack up all my inventory and my collection and do the cross-country move with it. And yeah, orders while that was happening, and also the unpacking and setting up of stuff when I got here. It's the worst part. Absolutely the worst part. It's a lot of work.
But Billy has a very different approach, right, Billy? We make fun of you every show for this.
So I'm entirely different. I couldn't fucking care less. I fly on a plane, and
That's true,
I make Jeremy bring all my inventory. Like, hey, I meet him somewhere in between here and Iowa. I'm like, hey, dude, take all this shit fucking out east for me. Like, I love you, but I'm not going to be in a car with you for fucking 13 hours. And I get on a plane, and I fly to a plane, and I fly on a plane to New Jersey, and Kyle and I drive, and it's a thing we do, and it's great. We go out to dinner, and we have a good old road trip ourselves for 3 hours because he lives far, far into the East Coast. And I get there, and that's Josh. Why are you looking at me like that?
You and Kyle are hanging out again?
Yeah. Oh, dude, for sure. Dude, Kyle's my friend first and foremost. You know what I mean? Like, God bless him, man. I taught the kid a lot of shit, dude. And he's doing very well for himself, and he's not stepping on my toes. That's what I respect about it.
We do love Kyle.
Yeah, we're helping each other along the way, and he still answers questions because I have oddball questions about weird armbands. And he comes to me for badges and shit like that. It's we can coexist and help each other. And again, Kyle's my friend first and foremost. With that being said, I do fly to him, have him drive me to the show, and I bring things that are over $500, and other than that, I don't give a shit if something. I mean, the website still. In fact, last year at the show, I sold something for like $33,000 when I was at the show on the website, and I had to fucking buy dinner for everybody. So the website's still rolling.
Oh, so cry me a fucking river.
If you guys could place a giant order around the show time when
That
we're
would be
hanging
great.
out with Billy, help us out so we don't have to
we
buy
get
dinner
out of it. Yeah, fucking Jesus.
Hey, I'll speak to the truth of what you're saying, Bill. You don't give a shit because I ran your table at the shows, and I spent the first day just making price tags.
Yeah, I don't price anything. I mean,
fuck! It's the worst being behind Billy's tables because he's got great shit, as we all know. And then everyone's
beautiful.
Like, well, how much is this thing? And how much is that? How much is that thing? And you're like, fuck. Oh, I don't fucking know. Like,
meanwhile, Bill's out there wheeling and dealing somewhere else in the show, and I can't call him. You know what I'm saying? He's out there making $1 million deals on friggin' Daggers.
What do you got on the Knight's Cross? What do you got on the fucking whatever? There's always some crazy shit he's got in there.
It's like the New York Stock Exchange.
Let me do my real quick Helmut Weitze story. I have a fucking story about him. He comes to my table. He buys. I think he bought a Knight's Cross, the Warhammer Cross, and I had documentation with it and everything else. And he's like, "Oh, would you take 6,000?" And I was like, "No, I won't." But give my asking price.
That was such a bad impression.
No, it wasn't.
That was Weitzer. That was not Weitze.
No.
That was Weitzer.
That was Weitzer. Oh yeah.
And so anyway, I was like, "Well, it's got documentation with it." I was like, "There's also documentation in English in case you can't read German," and I kind of just like smirked at him. He busted out like he knew I was being like a total smart ass, like right out of the gate.
Fucking
he is a funny guy. If you can throw him a couple of one-liners when he comes by your tables, you could go back and forth with Weitze a little bit. He's a funny dude, actually.
Yeah, but again, the show, much like this podcast for me, it has to be fun. It should be a work thing, and the show is more of a social thing, because the website sales are ridiculous as it is. I don't need to go to the shows, but to see you guys and to be in the room and don't get me wrong, I'm out there hunting, and I do enjoy the hunt, but other than that, I don't bring things that are less than $500 because of it. I don't want to have to deal with it. It's not worth my time if it doesn't sell. So that's how I do the show, and it's very enjoyable for me. And then I fly home and I meet Jeremy again and give him a high five and get my shit back.
Oh, I thought you were going to say have inappropriate relations, but I guess it went.
No, I've offered. He's not interested. Apparently.
He's abstained.
It makes sense.
Yeah.
The $500 limit though makes sense. You're traveling a lot farther than we are, so.
Yeah, no, I mean, it makes sense. It's a different approach, and I totally respect that approach as well. I mean, I'm a volume dealer. I'm making it up on volume. Everyone knows, well, most of my customers know that, I'm more of a commodity guy. So if you're looking for a selection of EK2s and a selection of KVKs and whatever, I'll probably have something for you. And the ground up kind of selection is more my bag, but Billy is kind of like the top 10%.
If you're at the Max, stop by Dante's table and just take advantage of all the free shit that he puts out. Because there's a ton of free shit. You can get like a patch. You can get a fucking sticker. You might be able to get yourself like
or stickers.
Posters.
You
might have hats.
Bottle openers. I've got a bottle opener off Dante. I use.
Oh man, yeah. This guy loves merch.
You guys are making me out like a used car salesman. You know what? Fine. Fuck you guys. You guys are gonna. No, I got new stickers coming in, and you can't have any because they're gonna be awesome. and I showed you guys, and fuck you, you can't have any.
Well, you're defeating the whole purpose of the sticker, free advertising.
No, not the people that are listening to the podcast. You two jerks, because you're mocking me. So
Sounds
no
like a real
cool stickers for you guys. Everybody loves my stickers. Not every people. Some people are like, this fucking guy gets stickers though. What a fucking chump. And that's fine if you want to think that. But people come by, they're like, are these free? And I'm like, fuck yeah, dude. Get you some stickers. And
dude, I had a lot of success with the fridge magnets, the RZM fridge magnets, and then you made them into patches, and people love them as patches too.
Love them. They love that shit, dude.
They're great.
I have one in my garage right now. I think I have. I think it was Josh who sent me one. I think I have it in my garage. The RZM.
Wait till you guys see though. Come by the show. I got a Halloween themed SMG War Relic sticker. You guys are gonna love it.
And I would like to make a statement real quick. If you come to my table, don't come there unless you're going to spend $500 because I'm not going to have anything there for you. And you're going to be like, well, this is weird. All this shit's over $500.
Wow, Bill, what about your adoring fans? The people that listen to the show, the people that watch the show, they want to come up. They want to say, hey, Billy Kramer, I got a question for you about something.
If I'm behind the table, I'm happy to do that, but I'm usually out shopping. And
Billy is a tough one to come by at the tables. That's a truth. So if you're coming by my table looking for Billy, I don't fucking know what to tell you. Kick rocks, go look in the show and try to find him.
And that's why Jeremy's so great because Jeremy likes small talk and he's personable. I'm a raging asshole. I'm not into it, so he does very, very well in that type of situation where I just,
I'm good. I like the small talk too. I love the small talk. I go there. I like to be behind the table. I like to move product. I am the salesman. I'm moving product. I'm shaking hands and kissing babies. I'm doing all that shit. And that's my time to really just unwind and relax. A lot of guys are, like Billy and other guys are running around like a fucking chicken with their head cut off. Boom, 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 hitting all the tables. Oh, did you see this? Did you see this? Blah, blah, blah. And coming back with great stuff. Don't get me wrong. But I take a different approach. I'm the salesman. I do go out for a stroll, but I like to just relax and sell. I want to move product and I want to just chill. And I'm thinking about dinner all fucking day. That's all I'm thinking about. To be totally honest,
the best part of the day.
That's a big
100%.
part for all of us because we all do it together, and it's always like and that's cool. Like I think in the SOS. We went to that one Mexican place downtown, but there was a different Mexican place. We went out for margaritas, and you, Dante, were like, that's where we're going to go next year. So it was like, all right, it's your turn to pick something. So, I mean, the fact that we all do that together, it is very fun that we all get our one night of like, I want to do this. And, I go to the Bonnie Bar or whatever that bar is called in Louisville. I love that bar. The shrimp and grits is delicious.
That's a good spot. Yeah, I like that spot.
Yeah. Dinner's a big part of the show, and we all do hang out, but it's more after hours,
Absolutely. Yeah, and then it eventually becomes just a night of staying up late and getting
harassed by
jokes.
Bill P. I think is
Bill P.
Staple of the show.
How does Bill P find his way into everyone's conversation at all times? That's what I don't understand about him. You're just like everyone's having a great time, and then Bill P comes in with some craziness, and you're like, what the fuck? Where did this guy come from?
Dude, I remember the last time that we were at must have been SOS. Where Bill P walked into a MMA competition. Where there was an MMA competition at the hotel, and Bill P walked into the MMA competition with a drink in his hand and yelled at them and was like, "You're all a bunch of fucking pussies."
Oh, was it MMA? Was that what it was? I heard that MMA. The whole way.
It was MMA. We were all together. It was MMA, but like it was for like teenagers. Like it was like for high school kids that were competing, like some sort of martial arts.
Jesus.
Bill P walks in, challenges all of them, and then apparently they were like, "Get the fuck out of here!" So then he yelled at us in the hallway. Guys,
then he yelled at us like we had something to do with him being an asshole. Like what?
Well, you know what? Call me when you've sold Hitler's watch. You know what I'm saying?
Well, you know what I'm saying.
Well, call me when you've sold Hitler's toilet seat, okay, buddy?
I remember one time at the Max show specifically. This is when it was in Monroeville, not York. We all went to the hotel bar, and Bill was yelling "Allah Akbar" at the top of the bar across the entire. Dude. And dude, it's just like I try to be obnoxious and the funny guy, but Jesus Christ, it's a whole other fucking level, dude.
No, if that was ever crazy. A time for inappropriate content, that's the man to have around if you're looking to. I mean, I don't easily get embarrassed, and this man has a way. I was just Let's just say that.
I love Bill P. And if you want inappropriate, toilet seats from Hitler and Edelweiss toilet paper, I mean, he's your guy to go to.
I love Bill P. I would never. I'm not speaking ill of Bill P. when I say that.
No, neither am I. I've been to
he's,
the man's house. He's invited me to check out his house.
Just an obnoxious gentleman. That's all it is.
He is, and you got to just know that about him. And I think everyone does. And some people can't hang. And me, I'm just like, fuck. How you doing, Bill? What's going on? Tell me some more inappropriate jokes.
Yeah, you do have this resigned to your fate sort of energy when you deal with Bill. But you're happy to see him, but you're also like, I know how quickly this can go south, and I'm not going to fight it anymore.
And it always does. Remember the time he was at? He just winds up in our hotel room.
I called him dude, and
he flipped out at you. Yeah.
Because you called him dude.
Because I called him dude. He lost, and he walked Andreas into a wall when they were trying to leave. It was hilarious.
Oh man,
we don't even have to get into it on the podcast
about that.
Dude,
Andreas, we caused so many problems at that hotel in Monroeville. I'm amazed that we got to stay for as long as we did. And also, I don't know if you guys remember the site of when the Monroeville show used to happen. It was like every old time dealer in the entire show standing outside of the hotel, smoking cigars and drinking, and then all of them going up for like the secret hotel room party.
Yeah. That's the thing.
Dude, my first year at the Max, I remember hearing about this and being like, there's a room where it's just full of swords. Are you serious? And it was real, and now it's not real. So you guys all missed out. But
yeah, that was a thing back then. All the old time dealers would tell you it would always be somebody hosting, whether it was Johnson or Whitman or fucking Galen David or whoever. There's always somebody that was like, come on up and let's look at a bunch of cool daggers, guys. And like everyone would just trade a bunch of daggers around and look at shit and whatever. That's the way they did it back then. But I don't want to lose this thought. Bill P came in. He was trying. I brought my Luftwaffe General Sword to show, and he came into the room and he was trying to, and it was there in the room, and he was trying to get me to consign it, of course, because that's what he does. You got to, I'll take this. I'll give $1 million for this sword. And I'm like, well, yeah, I don't really want to do that right now. It's just mine. I like just looking at it, and I'm enjoying it right now. He takes it out. He's swinging it around. He puts it on the bed. And I swear to God, he almost sat on the fucking thing without the scabbard. It almost ruined a Luftwaffe General Sword. And not just anyone, a mint one, right? Almost.
It is the nicest. I've had numerous people tell you, have seen them tell you that it's the nicest one they've ever seen. It is that nice.
Yes.
It's $35,000 or $40,000 for a good reason.
It's a keeper. Yeah.
For sure, dude. For sure.
Yep.
Bill P does what he wants, dude. Nobody holds him accountable.
And can we say his real name, Panagopoulos?
Panagopoulos.
Who's Bill P? Is the pretend? I call him the pretend Greek because I don't think he really is.
He's the Greekest guy I know.
In what he says he's Greek.
According to his messaging, he's the Greekest guy I've ever met. Shout out Bill P, you loud son of a bitch. I'm sorry I'm not going to get to see you, but he's a fun time. So, hey, honestly, YouTubers, if you see Bill P at the show, you know the guy. He stole Hitler's watch. You know the guy. He stole Hitler's toilet seat. Go up, slap him on his back, say, hey there, Bill. How's it going, bud? And then he'll fucking scream at you because he does not know who you are, and he'll be very upset.
And also, please, for God's sakes, he's so obnoxious. He'll come up to the tables of people that he knows, and he'll yell on the top of his lungs, this guy sells nothing but fakes. He'll do that, and people will turn around and go, what the fuck? And you're just like sitting there like a statue, like, Bill, what do you say? Like, he's lying, everybody. Like, he's just fucking with the person behind the table.
So, Billy, speaking of obnoxious gentlemen, on the forgotten episode, the scrapped episode that we couldn't keep, we had this little segment that you shared some of your emails with us. Would you like to introduce it real quick?
I think these are some of the gems I had on hand to share with the last podcast. Again, we didn't get to salvage everything, but there are some keepers of the last episode, and I hope you guys do enjoy what you're about to see right now. I guess we'll just dive into it. On the absurdity that I get in emails, this is a fun one. This is a screenshot from my cell phone. I gave the guy my PayPal address. And I circled, I did digitally edit this image. I did circle the time frame. He paid me at 9:49 in the morning. Now, I would also like to state, this is where some Luftwaffe Oberleutnant collar tabs. Okay, this is $120. This is not $10,200. The guy paid me $120 for some Oberleutnant Luftwaffe collar tabs. At $9.49, he paid me and said, "Pay me, payment sent, send me the tracking." By $11.50, 2 hours and 1 minute later, he's like, "Did you have a chance to ship it yet?" And it's like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, dude, like, listen, it'd be one thing if he's like, "Listen, my wife is having open heart surgery tomorrow. Doctor said if I don't have Oberleutnant Luftwaffe collar tabs by tomorrow, he's not gonna fucking make it." Okay? Nobody needs their military, okay? And I listen, I have nothing but respect for customers. I have a life. I try to ship, dude. I met my ex-wife, I met her at a post office. You can insert the handling my package joke however you want. I've been to the post office, okay?
Bill, you're on fire today.
Dude, listen, I'm like family at my post office in Racine. They stay open late for me. I mean, it goes on and on. I spend like 35 grand a year at a post office, okay? My point is like, I message the guy back and it's like, "Are you serious?" It's like, "No, man, I haven't." It's like, do you know how many orders a week I get, bud? Like, dude, and it's me. It's me, and I mean, I have a girl who helps with packaging. I have people who help with photography and editing. It's not solely a one-man show, but for the most part, on an order like that at 9:50 in the morning, do I have my packaging girl running over to do that? No, it's going to be on me. So I apologize. In 2 hours, I didn't get it out the door.
Well, I think the bigger problem is that as a culture, we're so used to now getting things instantly, right?
Amazon Prime. Yeah.
You place an order on Amazon, you get, it's being processed, it's shipping, blah, blah, blah. And then you have it within 48 hours, sometimes 24 hours. I mean, you're getting things extremely fast. So people assume that a small business owner literally has a little mailbox that you package the order in and you throw it in the mailbox. And boom, it's on a truck to your house. Like that's how it goes.
Too.
And it's not how it goes. There's a lot of footwork and groundwork and steps and processes that we have to do to get your package ready to go. And we have life in between all that.
You might mention you got two beautiful little girls and a wife, and I mean you have a social life and people you want to see. Josh moves across the country, and yet he's got to come back and package orders and get them across the out the door. So it is people. It's not that I'm like necessarily bitching, but at the same time, like, give me a break, man. Like, no, I don't have it out yet. But I mean, you've bought from me before. You know the shit's gonna fucking show up in the mailbox.
Right. But also
I'm a trusted seller. I've been here for a minute,
Yeah. It is that instant gratification though, like Dante was saying. People go ahead.
We're not you're still getting it quickly, right? We're not putting it off for a week, right? So there's still that weird thing about like, well, listen, man, can you give me a day to get it together? Like, is that unreasonable? Or I feel what's crazy, I can't stand the emails that I get where they're looking for that information, right? Or they're looking for an update, but it's on a Sunday and you go and you track the order and they put the order in on a Friday at like 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right? Which is my time and Josh's time. And you're like, wait a minute, you put it in a Friday evening. I'm done for the night for the most part. I'm going to try to enjoy my weekend. Now, do I work every day? Yes, I do. I try to package things up every day so my Monday doesn't suck balls and I'm packaging 5,000 things on a Monday. However, give me a fucking break, man. You place an order on the weekend, you got to wait. You just got to wait.
I think you're going to love this next screenshot because I think you could totally relate to it. Josh, please continue here. I think it's
all right. What do we got here, Bill?
This gentleman. I did block out most names too. I'm not trying to throw people under the bus. Here's a customer, repeat customer. You place the order for the HJ knife on New Year's Eve. The post office is closed on Monday for the holiday, so there's no way whatsoever I could have gotten the knife out. Right? January 2nd is the first day I could have possibly have mailed you that night. It's not me that closed the post office. The post office is fucking closed. It's a federal holiday, and you've bought from me before. Today is January 6th. 4 days after I could have even mailed it. This guy filed a PayPal claim, and it ripped $799 out of my PayPal account because he didn't, like, in 4 days, the guy started.
Yeah, that's crazy, dude.
That's nuts, dude. That's actually the worst thing that's ever happened on January 6th, too.
Oh, hey, zing.
Actually,
No, that is nuts. That is crazy. It is
and
nuts. The
I
expectation.
said, a couple things here, pal. It's like 4 days is not unreasonable, and it's not like it's been 4 weeks. Heaven forbid if I had gone out of town, for the holiday weekend of New Year's. I mean,
I put up a disclaimer on my website saying that we were moving and that stuff would take 2 weeks to ship because that's how long it was going to take. And I had people like ordering, consistently across that time and reaching out to me being like, did it ship yet? And I'm like, even with the notification up there that says shipping is going to be delayed, they're like, yeah, but not for me. Right.
Right. Exactly. And again, it's not that customers are not special, but, people also have to understand, it's a small business, and it is a small business. It's kind of, and I'll touch base on this real quick. You always pay full retail for your Nikes and your Prada sunglasses, right? But then it's like, well, can you do better on this World War II item? And it's like, you understand what it took to find an original out of the woodwork, and you need it for less money? Like, how much money could I possibly be making on $120 Luftwaffe collar tabs, bud? What am I,
God.
a couple of 20s? And I have to pay to ship it for you.
The amount of emails I get for wanting to broker a deal over something is just it's astronomical, and I shut it down instantly because, like you said, I can't just call up a wholesaler and say, hey, can you send me another one of these mint condition first model Luftwaffes with early fittings? It's not a thing, right? So if I have something really nice, no, the price is what it is. And I don't care if it sits around for a year or two, it will eventually sell for that price. And if I feel it is overpriced, I can adjust it at my own discretion. But here's the thing: when someone comes and says, let's just say you have a Dagger and it's $1,000, right? They'll say, oh, can you do 600 on this Dagger? And you're like, Jesus. And you're like, well, maybe I could. But why would I discount it $400 to you right now when I can slowly over time take $50 or $100 off and get my maximum value for it? Right?
Agree. There's an ask for every seat. If it's cash and carry to show, I can give you a little bit of discount, right? Cash. I don't have to eat the payment fees on the credit card or PayPal. Additionally, like you said, it always sells. I have things on the back page that I've had my inventory for 6 years, and it sells. It doesn't matter. There's always going to be somebody. So it's not like I need to sell you this stuff.
And we're also in a business where building inventory is good.
Yes.
Right. It helps
That's
with your
true.
Google. It helps with your Google hits, your search results, all your analytics. Having a big, deep, diverse inventory is a good thing. So if I have, especially with smalls, I'll have fucking 5,000 extra smalls in a bucket. I don't care. They don't take up any space. So I'm just building the inventory. And you know what? If I get to a point where it's like, oh Jesus, man, I've got like 100 OS medals. Let's drop them because I want to move some of these out of here. I'll do that, fine. But generally speaking, you don't have to do that.
I agree.
So Bill, I've been looking at your pictures while we're talking here, and I got to ask you, what the hell is going on with this? This one's too funny to me.
Oh my God. This guy. Now, I'll give the benefit of the doubt. I ship worldwide, and I use eBay. eBay is a great thing that, when people send me, a question on eBay, believe me, in the reply, they get my website address. Okay. It's a great way for me to pull traffic. However, with this being said, it's a denazified, it's a Third Reich produced item that it was denazified, and it's a beautiful badge. Great.
Right, because you can't say denazified in eBay.
Correct.
Right?
No, you can't.
It's a buzzword.
Okay.
It's a buzzword. Yeah. But this guy sent me an email asking, well, there's supposed to be a swastika. What'd you do with it? Do you still have it?
You have it in your back pocket?
Yeah. And you
Do
don't
you keep it now?
You don't want to use the
clearly
R word.
English is not his first language.
Jesus
Where is
Christ.
it? Do you keep it now?
Yeah, it was an email from Hong Kong, but it's like, dude, some days it's just like you just shake your head. It's like, what the fuck, man? Like, no, I don't have. What do you mean? Did I remove it? Do I have it? No. Anyway,
you gotta put in the description the bad sign was removed. This way,
I believe I did.
And not by me.
Did. Just people shouldn't be fucking stupid.
I didn't like it. And I ripped it off of there.
You can move on. Done and over with this asshole.
All right, what do we got here?
Oh my God! Do you ship to Belgium? And it's like, Have you ever seen my website? Can you? Yeah. Every fucking page of this website, I can't make it any more bold. And I have people are like, "Are your items original?" It's like, "Are you fucking retarded?" Sorry, I used the R word, but come on, you scratch your head. What do you mean? Yeah, free shipping anywhere in the world. If you go back to that,
I'm going to defend the guy from Belgium, Billy, and I'm going to say that there's a language issue where he didn't read all that stuff, even though it's on every page. He probably didn't read it because he can't read English that well.
No, go back. I'm being extremely sarcastic in my
response. But I get you because that's
he said regards. He was being polite.
If Belgium is on this planet, in theory, yeah, we go there. So anyway, maybe I was a little too hard on the guy, but this was the only example I have in an email of a screenshot real quick. I get questions like this all the time of how much does it cost to ship your items? Are your items authentic? And it's like, do you people not fucking read anything?
Well, listen.
Well, we'll leave this up on screen for a second too.
Let's just remember that we got to remind our viewers, we respond to these people in as a professional way as possible, in a kind way as possible. We're venting our frustrations now because it's funny and it's entertaining. But at the end of the day, we're like, yes, sir, I ship international for free.
Let me talk.
Believe me, dude. Go ahead, Bill. Address the public.
I ship for free with tracking, and my items are original. And if I make a mistake because I'm human, you can send it back to me, and I'll give you your money back. I shouldn't be asked these questions repeatedly. Well, it's not a rare occurrence.
Here's the problem. If they're not familiar with doing business with us or another reputable dealer, and listen, we're not the only reputable dealers out there, right? There's a lot of good dealers out there. The problem is you have all these weird, shady websites that sell reproductions as their main core business, right? But they don't even say that they're reproductions. You just have to assume that they are because it's a Knight's Cross for $20, right?
It's a fair state. I totally get what you're saying. It's a fair comment to make, and I agree.
But I'm going to continue on this because there's other websites that sell reproductions and authentic stuff on their website, and you can't decipher what's what because their descriptions suck, and it's like I feel like they're intentionally misleading you because you're like, oh, here's a great Iron Cross first class, and then it's like, oh, but here's another Iron Cross first class, and it's only $20. I'm going to get that one. So the new collector that has no idea, he's not going to pay $200-$300 for it is for the real one. He's got $20. That sounds good to me.
I agree with everything you just said. However, to an extent,
and it makes it shitty for us. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, if you could just read, it says it's authentic. it says this one's real. You might have
they got to hear it right from you, bud.
They got to hear from the horse's mouth, Billy.
Yeah,
that's right,
Josh,
from the Billy Kramer's mouth.
Go ahead.
Yeah, Bill, we got a few more left, and then I do got to be getting out of here. I'm sorry, I'm on a schedule tonight, but no, you're good. You're good. This has been fun. What do we got here? This guy looking for atom band.
This gentleman wanted to know if I sell Nazi armbands. He probably passed about 60 in my inventory to find my email address to ask me this question. And
yeah, I get these sometimes too. It's very confusing because you're like, you had to go on the website to get my email.
Correct. It's very funny though. If you look at the email header, he spelled it ATM band. So it's possible that's why I wasn't finding armbands because he fucking spelled it wrong in the search bar.
Here, but no, they don't. And that's the thing I learned, that they don't have to go to your website to get your email. When they do a Google search, sometimes they'll just hit your info and your email and email you instantly without even looking at your website. It happens to me all the time.
I like to imagine people are
just saying it happens.
Go ahead. No, yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, I'm sure. We should give him the benefit of the doubt. Josh, continue, buddy. Let's cruise through this so you can get to work.
All righty. I appreciate it. Yeah, I got that night shift life now. It's an adjustment. All right. Next up, Bill, what do we got here?
Oh, this gentleman wanted to return a box Spanga that I sold him because it wasn't marked when he got it. It was never described as marked. But apparently, there's 2 points I want to make. Apparently, people think every fucking thing the Third Reich made had a maker mark on it. That's incorrect, number one. Incorrect number two is I've had people tell me, well, I'd be like, hey, that's fake. Sorry, I'm not interested. And be like, well, what do you mean? It's like, it has a maker mark. And it's like,
yeah, it's the opposite problem. Yeah.
Yes.
Right.
Because it has a maker mark. It's real. Give me a break. Like, they can reproduce the Mona Lisa. You don't think they're faking maker marks on badges? It's a stupid thing. And I mean, I was actually rude to this guy. I was like, you can send it back because I offer 7 days. If you don't like it, send it back. I said, but you're kind of like it is real. You know, you should get additional opinions. But if you send it back because you think it's fake because it's not marked, I don't want you to buy from me anymore. Like, and it's very rare that I tell somebody like, I'm not going to take your money anymore because you're an idiot.
Yeah, but at the same time, it's a
it's
good opportunity to educate them. So I feel like I'm torn between.
And
both.
I did. I explained.
You gotta take the time. You have to educate them a little bit. And if they come back at you and be like, it's fake just because whatever bullshit, then fine. Then you can write them off. But I try to at least give those people the benefit of the doubt.
The only thing that gets me about this email is that he threw the "how do I know this isn't purposefully aged" and then sold to me, as if you specifically were like,
yeah,
I'm gonna screw you over. And it, like, your website is pretty good about saying there's a money back, everything's guaranteed for life. So it's funny to be like, I'm not trying to be that guy, but are you a scam artist?
right.
He'd already had it in his possession, and because he took it out of the box and it wasn't marked, he thought it was bad, and that's just the thing that we combat. You know, is that the last one, or I got more?
No, I got a couple other ones here. What's this guy?
This one I feel bad. We're showing his name. It's kind of funny though. I saw this for sale on Facebook, and he said the item was authenticated by William Kramer, but he has concerns about it. So I messaged him, and you can go forward an image. And I said, hey man, I'll take it. And he's like, okay, but you understand, I don't know if it's real. And I'm like, you do understand I'm the William Kramer you're talking about. I'll buy it. It's me. I'm the guy who likes it. I'll buy it. You know, you threw my name out there. But yeah, I'm the guy. I like it, buddy. I'm okay. And he's like, oh, that's great. And so he sold it to me. It was just kind of funny that he was like, he mentioned my name, and I was like, hey, bud, I'll buy that from you. I think it's real. You know,
that's pretty fun. I'll block his name out for you. Don't worry. But I do like that. That's a good story.
Yeah. But
then I got this one, dude. This was the high one of last week. God. I was walking into work.
So, okay, and I'll make this quick. You know, Paul Sack is a good friend of mine. He wrote the Third Reich Exotic Headgear book. You know, Paul Sack is Jewish, and he has the best headgear collection I've ever seen in my life. It's top tier, and Paul's a good friend of mine, and, you know, he collects just like you and I collect, you know, and you get emails like this, and it's like, you know, I'm selling German and Japanese war trophies from, you know, conquered nations that our boys fought and brought home. You know, I have U.S. items too, and, you know, am I a Nazi because of what I'm selling? It's like, give me a break. You know, he's saying, oh, you know, they raped and murdered millions, and it's like, yes, I understand that, but, you know, I'm not anyway politically affiliated with that, and I do have that disclaimer on my website. In fact, in order to find my email address, you have to go past that disclaimer to get to me. But this is the kind of shit as a dealer we deal with, and it's like, I'm not a bad person. I don't want to hurt people, but you get idiots like this, and, you know, I don't even know what to say about this other than just, it's fucking disgusting.
Bold, dude. It's really bold. And this is what I said when you first showed us this email when it came in, is like, nobody asked you how you feel. It's really a very like self-important thing to be like, and now you know how I feel. Unless, and this is what I thought. Yeah, well, but unless he's actually saying, now you know how I feel, which would make this super confusing. And that's why I had to ask you guys, like, how do you read this when we first got this one in? Because it's like, he attacks you and then he says, now you know how I feel. I'd be like, Stuart, who hurt you, man?
Yo,
why do you feel like this? Bro?
Needless to say, I did not reply. I typically reply. I did not reply to this individual.
Oh God. Yeah, this is the kind of shit, guys, that we have to deal with, you know, people calling us Nazis and shit. And it's a shame, but it's part of what we have to deal with on a day-to-day or week-to-week basis.
Ooh, funny stuff, Bill. Hey guys, if you did enjoy that
was perfect, honestly.
Okay.
So good.
Bill, funny stuff, man. If you feel, hey, listen, if you guys like that, if you want to see more of the goofy background stuff where somebody, you know, asks a silly question or wants you to send tracking 15 minutes after they place the order, let us know in the comments, because we'll share some more of it. But yeah, I'm glad we could share that. I'm glad we could at least use a couple of those segments and get them in here, because it's good info and it's funny. It's funny stuff.
I totally agree with you. You know, it is what I'm sharing here. I try to hide people's names, and it's just, a lot of people don't know this business from a dealer's perspective. And we do deal with a lot of silly and stupid questions sometimes. So, you know, it's not that we're actually poking fun at anybody. And, you know, I love all my customers, but I do get some emails that do raise my eyebrows during the day of like, are you fucking serious with this shit? And I think that's what I'm trying to say.
It's a lot. It's very similar to when somebody gets a full spaghetti dinner on the first day of the road trip.
That's the analogy I was going for. I mean, obviously.
So yeah, thank you guys again for bearing with us. We appreciate it. You know, we had some technical difficulties. We took some time off for the move, had to get some things done. I will not be at the Max. Obviously, the boys will be at the Max, so stop by their tables. I'll be at the SOS. Come see me at Billy's table. And another episode in the books, guys. Before we get off here, is there anything you want to share, any wisdom, any tidbits of information that viewers got to know before we plug your websites?
Well, Josh, I'm going to tell you one thing that my mother always used to tell me, and that is just that.
Quit yanking on your pole. Sorry.
Well, you wouldn't be wrong.
Sorry.
Okay. Oh, no, we're just gonna end it there. We're gonna end it
That's
there.
it.
On that note. Oh my gosh, war-relics.com for Dante, Wehrmachtmilitaria.com with a hyphen in the middle for Billy, Queen City Militaria for me. Guys, this is a lot of fun. I'll see you later.
Later, kiddos.